Now, in a previous video we talked about routable and non-routable IP addresses. In this video we're going to explain how the concept of a NAT is used and how we can get traffic from a routable to a non-routable area. And we're going to explain the basic concept of port forwarding in this and how it's used. So here we have a very simplistic abstracted diagram. We have a private network over here. Now these are non-routable IP addresses. In other words, these IP addresses don't know anything about the outside internet. Here we have the outside internet and we have a router which is on the border. So this is on the boundary of this organisation. The router, as I've mentioned before, has to have two IP addresses. It has a public routable IP address so that the rest of the internet can find it. And then it has a private IP address which is being used internally. Now, it's the job of a network address translation, that's a NAT table, for converting IP addresses as they pass over this boundary from public to private. So let's take a bit of a more detailed look at how this works. We're going to step through an example. So, first of all, this PC is going to try and communicate with this web server which is out on the internet, presumably to request a web page, and then the web server is going to have to pass this request back. Now, bear in mind that this PC at this point doesn't know about the web server, and the web server can't see this desktop PC because it's inside a network. So, this desktop PC sends its request. It says the source of the request is 192.168.1.2, and it also has a port number it's coming from. It also has a destination, and the destination is this PC over here, this web server. The request travels down to the router to leave the organisation. Now at this point, the network-enabled router places an entry into its network address translation table, and this is the crux, this is the important bit that's handling this translation. Just before it sends the signal out, it makes an entry. So it turns round and says, okay, I'm about to send this out onto the network. This is my IP address, and then it creates a random port number and writes it in here, 3945. Where has this come from? Well, this has just come from 192.168.1.2 on port 5893. So it's recorded where it's come from internally, it records its IP address, and also records a random port number. It then sends it out on its way, because this router can see this web server. So, out goes this piece of traffic, but this time, of course, the source of this piece of traffic is this router. Don't forget, this web server, when it sends back, can't know about this. It can only know about this IP address and its public address. So this traffic goes off to the web server, but it's changed the source address. It's pretending it's the source address with this special port that it made up. Off it goes. The web server then receives the request, and the information is sent back. So the web server says, here you go, you're coming from me. 47, 12, 67, 211 on port 80, and it sends it to the router. Now, of course, when it reaches the router knows, hang on a second, I'm not actually the destination for this information. The web server thought I was, but I'm not. Well, where do I have to send it? Because this router's receiving all sorts of traffic from the internet. Well, it looks back in its table, and it sees there's an entry for 3945. I need to forward that on to the local PC 192.168.1.2 on port 5893. And it does exactly that. So you can see the importance here of this network address translation and this NAT translation table. Without it, there'd be no way for these non-routable private desktops on this LAN to exchange and communicate information with the outside global internet.